Hello. In this math video, I will do a GED math video regarding solving linear expression. So in the previous video, we were talking about how to come up with the expression. Now we have the expression, and now we got to solve or simplify. You got to solve or simplify. Okay, so before we do this, let's briefly talk. There are some rules I want to go over. So go ahead and get out your notebooks and write out these three rules. So Rule one is also really important. When you simplify expression, use order of operation and methods. So if you look at question one, you don't know what to do for, like, you wouldn't know what to do for, like, should I roll out three or should I, yeah, you wouldn't know. So this is what you have to, this is what would be helpful, the pandas. So your operation, pandas, P, E, M, D, As. I've probably heard of this. Your teacher might call something else, but it really is just pandas. So what is pandas? Parentheses. The P stands for parentheses. E stands for exponents. M stands for multiplication. D stands for division. A stands for addition, and then this should be an S. S stands for subtraction. Okay. So one very important keynote. This could happen if you have more than one parentheses. So if you look at example one, definitely have more than one parentheses. You have one here, and then the bracket represents a parentheses. And then you also have these other brackets. Um, if you have more than one parentheses, start at the inner parentheses and make your way out. You might have to do another set of pandas inside your parentheses. Okay, so let me write that out. Uh, okay. So yeah, if you have more than one parentheses, start at the inner parentheses and make your way out. You might have to do another set of pandas inside of your parentheses. So like sometimes what I mean is like inside your parentheses, for example, in this parentheses, you have 2x minus 4. There is no you don't have to do another pandas again because it's just 2x minus 4. You can't combine them. That it is what it is, right? Sometimes you can sometimes the inner parentheses can have multiple order of operations. So if that's the case, start with pandas all over again. Okay. Um, Another keynote, and this could happen if you have both multiplication and division and or addition and subtraction at the same time, go from left to right. So yes, if you have Okay, so this, yeah, sometimes you can have both addition and subtraction or multiplication and division at the same time. So if that's the case, just go from left to right. Okay. Another keynote, we write it here. Yes, if you have a G factor out of GCF if possible. GCF. Okay. And then expand. Expand means FOIL or multiply. So if you ever hear the word expand, it just means FOIL or multiply. Okay. So those are some very key important notes. Order of operation use pandas. If you have more than one parentheses, start from the inner parentheses and make your way to the left or outwards. If you have both multiplication and division or addition and subtraction at the same time, just go from left to right. Um, if you can factor out a GCF, do it. GCF stands for greatest common factor. And then if you ever hear the word expand, it just means FOIL or multiply. Okay, got it all down. Let's do 3 questions. So I'm going to clear and do the first one. Okay, so in the first one, we have it says simplify the expression, and I'm definitely going to do pandas. So let's start with the P. Do we have parentheses? Yes, we have a parentheses here. Um, then the brackets have the parentheses, and then you have this little other bracket, this squiggly bracket like that. Do you see that? That's also technically a parenthesis. So if we have more than one, start from the inner, make your way out. So let's start with this parentheses. 2x minus 4. Unfortunately, we cannot combine them in any way, so we're just going to leave it. Then let's start with these. Do you see these two brackets right here? That's technically a parentheses, so let's do that. Now, this one, we have some order of operation. We have some order of operation. So what I'm going to do is start with pandas all over again, just inside this bracket. So you see this bracket? So within these brackets, what should we do first? Well, do we have an exponent? No. Do we have a multiplication? We do. Do you see this? When anything's squished, it means multiplication. So what I'm going to do is FOIL out this 3, but there's a minus, so it's really -3. So go ahead and FOIL out -3, so that's going to be -3 times 2x is -6x. -3 times -4 is +12. And then don't forget about this 10x, so bring that down. Okay. Then what I would do is this is where a lot of people make mistakes. Just bring down what you haven't done. So bring down this 3, because we haven't done anything with 3, and then bring down this +4, close it with this other bracket, and then close it down with this other bracket. Just see what I did? So you just bring down what you haven't done, because this is where a lot of people make mistakes. When you don't, they try to do it on their head, which is not good. Do it one at a time. If you try to do this, I promise you, if you try to do this in your head, you will make a mistake. So bring down what you haven't done and then just keep on continuing. So now what I'm going to do, I'm still going to simplify this bracket because that's still technically, we still got to finish this order of operations. So inside this bracket, what can you do? Well, I can't really do any order of operation. The only thing I can do is collect like terms. So the only thing I can do is collect 10x and -6x, which is what? What's 10x and -6x? 4x, right? 6. That's 4x. And then the +12, and then bracket, and then bring down what you haven't done. And then 3, and then this weird quickly bracket. That's technically a bracket. And then don't forget you still have this minus. That minus is, you could think of it as a negative one if you want. Okay, good. Now what I'm going to do is, do you see this weird bracket? That's technically parentheses. So there's nothing more you can do here. So if you can forget about simplifying this. So now what we have to do is simplify this whole thing using pandas because this is still a parentheses. So do we have a exponent? No. Do we have a multiplication? Yes. So let's do that. What is our multiplication? This 3 is, you're foiling out this 3. So 3 times 4x is 12x. 3 times 12 is 36. Then bring down what you haven't done. So I haven't done this plus 4, so bring that down. And I haven't done this plus 5. And then bracket. And then bring down the negative. Now, continue simplifying this weird parentheses, right? So the only thing I can do is collect like terms. So I see a 12x, we're gonna bring that down. And then I see addition. So you have a 5 and a 36 and a 4. What is that gonna be? Just use a calculator. It's 36. It's 45. And then bracket. Okay, so now we finished that. And then what I'm gonna do is start with pentas all over again because we already, there's nothing more we can do here. So start with pentas all over again. So do we have an exponent? No. Do we have a multiplication? Yes. Boil off this negative, so that's going to be negative 12x minus 45. Looks like B. Okay, so negative 12x and negative 45, that's your answer. So what I did was I did pentas and I had several parentheses, more than one. I had one here, I had one here, outer there, and then outer there, right? And then yeah, and then what I did was I just went from inner to outer and then did my order of operation. Bring down what I haven't done. So very important. Bring down what you haven't done. Try not to do it all in your head because that's where you can make mistakes. And then start with pen this all over again and then continue. So that's how I got B. Okay, question 2. Factorize the expression 5x minus 10y plus 15z. So yeah, the only thing I can think of, I can't do simple factoring because this is not power, this only has a power of 1, right? The only thing I can do is factor out a 5 because think of these as 3 individual terms. This is one term, 5x is one term, negative 10y is one term, 15z is another term, right? And I can't take out a letter because this is an x, this is a y, and this is z. They're different letters, so we can't take out a letter. And I could, the only thing I could factor out is a Cranham's common factor GCF of 5. Because if you look at this term, 5x, 10y, and 15, they're both divisible by 5, and you can't go any higher than 5. So you always want to take the highest number as possible. So they're both divisible by 5, can't go any higher. So that's why I'm going to take out a 5, factor out 5. So 5 is my GCF. Then I'm going to do, I can't change the problem, so I'm going to put an x here, right? Because when you FOIL out, you can't change the problem. So 5 times x is 5x. And then you can continue 5. What do you have to multiply 5 to get negative 10y? Negative 2y. What do you have to multiply 5 to get 15z? Positive 3. There you go. That is just factoring out a GCF. So that's 5x, 5 parentheses x minus 2y plus 3z. 5 parentheses x minus 2y plus 3z. So C. Okay, last one. Okay, question three says expand the expression. So when they say the word expand, it means multiply or FOIL. So what I always do is before I expand this, I always check in the inside parentheses if you can combine like terms, right? That'll make your life easier. So look in the inner parentheses. You have a 4x, a 2y, and a 5z. Can you collect like terms? Not quite. So I'm just going to FOIL out this 3. So 3 times 4x is 12x. 3 times negative 3 times negative 2y is negative 6y. And then 3 times 5z is 15z. Okay, there's your answer. What is letter A? Okay, and you want me to check it? Sure. Okay, so yes, we got it all right. So what we did was solving linear expressions. Yeah, the next one we should do is solving polynomials. So I'm going to stop right here.